Billy Napier has some work to do at Florida, but there's reason to believe that they can bounce back in 2022. And I think that with the talent that he's recruited, the talent that he's brought in the transfer portal, and the talent that he inherits, there's a lot to like about this team. Now, maybe they're not at the same level as Georgia, but when you look at the ceiling, you have to be excited if you're a Florida Gators fan. Now, I know that there's still plenty of work to do, and this year might not be the perfect season, but Billy Napier's at least doing everything that he can. He's bringing in the right guys, the right staff, and those guys are doing the right things to be able to get Florida back into position where they're competing for an SEC championship and they're trying to overthrow Georgia. Some of the guys on this list, you look at their ceiling, you have to be excited. Some of the guys you look at, and maybe the ceiling's not as high, but they're going to be solid contributors. So I think they have exactly what they need. It just comes down to chemistry, reps, and if they can translate that talent onto the field. As of right now, Anthony Richardson is not the best player on Florida based on what we've seen on the field. But when you look at his ceiling, if he figures things out, then this is going to be a really explosive, really exciting offense, and that could bring Florida to a new level under Billy Napier. Richardson has a cannon for an arm. The ball just flies out of his hand. You like when you're watching him, you can just tell that he is a super talented player. The ball just flies out of his hand, like I said, super quick. He's just different when he's at his peak, and that's something that is going to help this offense a lot. He's also extremely explosive running the football, so if he's getting in the open field, odds are that it's probably a good thing for Florida's offense and really bad for whoever they're facing. If Anthony Richardson can find some consistency as a passer and put it all together and figure out how to operate within Billy Napier's system, we saw what he did in the spring. It's really exciting. But if he's able to put it all together, this offense is going to reach new heights. Now, Billy Napier did bring a couple guys from Louisiana with him, and one of them that's going to be an instant impact player is Osiris Torrance. The guard is an absolute monster when it comes to blocking, and he joins a experienced Florida offensive line and brings an attitude that can elevate this line to an even higher level. And he's going to be fun to watch. He's going to be there 1 year and then it's off to the NFL for sure. It'll be fun to see how high he goes. And it's fun to see a guy from the Sun Belt prove that he can handle SEC competition. Brenton Cox surprised a lot of Gators fans by returning to campus for yet another year. And I don't know what he thought he needed to work on, but there's obviously something he's focusing on this year. But that's really good if you're a Florida Gators fan. You're excited about a veteran coming back, one of the best players on this team, returning to this defense and providing 14 and a half tackles for loss last year and 8 sacks. The edge rusher, if you will, is going to be someone that they need to kind of usher in some of these younger guys and show them how to do things. The defensive line is going to need a leader like him, and his ability to get everybody else up to speed is going to be huge for this defense. If you're looking for a breakout player within Florida, obviously Anthony Richardson is the first player you're going to look at when it comes to that. However, Javonte Dexter, I think, is going to have a monster year. When you look at what he did last year, he was still kind of figuring out how to play his position and how to handle his talent and be able to take his game to a new level. And towards the end of the year, you were starting to see that. And again, defensive tackle, we talk about this all the time. You're not going to see the best stats, and when you're looking at their box scores, but it's beyond the box score is where they make their impact. Dexter commands double and sometimes triple teams on a consistent basis, and his ability to not only blow up certain plays, but to be able to open things up for the guys behind him is where he makes his money. And I think that when you're talking about looking at next year's draft, Dexter is a guy that could be rising up the boards really quickly when the season ends. This secondary has a ton of talent, secondary and the wide receivers. The passing attack, the passing attack for their offense and their pass defense really play a big role this year. The talent is there. Again, it just comes down to this is what I was talking about before. It just comes down to being able to translate that to the field. Rashaad Torrance is one of the better safeties in college football, and he does a lot for this defense. You look at his stats from last year, he did a little bit of everything. He made some tackles to clean up plays. He was able to get in the backfield to disrupt the opposing offense, had a couple of interceptions, had a few passes defended. He does everything. And this is, like I said, this secondary has the potential to be really exciting, to be able to shut teams down potentially. And when you're looking at guys that can make an impact, if this secondary steps up and performs at the level that we expect them to, Florida's not going to be very fun to face. Losing a player like Kaiir Elam never is good. You're never going to like losing a player like that. A talent like him isn't easy to replace. However, Florida has a talented secondary that could potentially do that. It may not be 1 year, but Jason Marshall is going to do everything he can to be the next Elam. Maybe not be exactly him, but be the next corner that everyone expects to be elite, one that can shut down half of the field. When you look at what he did last year, it's a reason why many are having them super high on their lists in terms of who is going to be a stud for them. I think Jason Marshall is a guy that everybody talks about when you're talking about the Florida Gators. It just comes down to, can he handle that pressure and can he take another step forward to do what Elam did for this defense last year? Justin Shorter has been compared to Terrell Owens, and that's not exactly a light comparison. You don't just throw that around because a guy just kind of looks like someone. His ability to play the game like T.O. is, you see it at times. It just comes down to consistency. Also, Florida's got to find a passing attack. They got to find a consistency at quarterback, and the wide receivers have to step up. Shorter feels like he's going to be the guy to do that, and it just comes down to, like I said, consistency. And if he's able to do that, this offense, like I said, him and Anthony Richardson could be a lethal 1-2 combo if they're able to find some chemistry and the consistency and the passing attack takes a step forward. I think one of the underrated additions in the transfer portal was Ricky Pearsall, the Arizona State transfer. You look at what he did at Arizona State in a year which the Sun Devils were just not just figuring things out, and then obviously everything unraveled in the offseason. I think Pearsall is an underrated player, one that's going to be a huge addition for this defense or offense, excuse me. And I think that Anthony Richardson is really going to like him, having him as an option. He made a lot of plays that went kind of unnoticed for Arizona State and really in college football. And it'll be fun to see. Like I said, it really comes down to if Richardson can take a step forward. And if he can, guys like Pearsall are really going to benefit from that. The receivers really have to step up for Florida this year, and Xavier Henderson is another option for Anthony Richardson to hit downfield. And like I said, we've seen the talent coming into this program. It just comes down to, can they step up and perform? I'm really excited about what I see from these guys in terms of talent. It just has to translate. And a guy like Xavier Henderson can play a big role, and how about guys like Justin Shorter and Ricky Pearsall? Finally, Trey Dean returns for yet another year. I think that I really hope that he can take another step, because I like when he's playing really well, he's fun to watch. And this defense is better when he is doing that. So it's going to come down to, can he play consistently, and can he be a guy that, along Rashaad Torrance, that is a reliable leader and is able to play at a level that elevates the others around him. This secondary, like I said, super talented, has a ton of players that you can rely on that could take them to the next level. And it just, like I said, is going to come down to, can they be consistently good and be the defense that this team needs them to be. Florida has a lot of questions, but there are some answers to those questions that get you really excited. I'm not sure what that means in terms of the SEC East. I'm not sure what that means in terms of the SEC in general. I know that they have the talent. I know what Billy Napier can do as a head coach, and it just comes down to, like I said, can they put that on the field? Can they translate that talent into a product that wins football games at a high level?